how do a missing hinge, the death of a noble, and food poisoning cases connects to an assassination attempt. In the Apothecary Diary, Mao Mao's brilliance and medical expertise are crucial, but will it be enough if she doesn't take action? These seemingly isolated cases could have gone unnoticed. Grab yourself a cup of tea and join me as we dissect Season 1, exploring how every universe and every missteps connects to a larger web of conspiracy brewing within the royal palace. As I unravel the truth might change the fate of the empire itself.
これは長い時間をかけて練られた計画のはず。
The story of Mao Mao in the Apothecary Diary is really amazing to tell as an anime lover. The reason are that the amount of clues given to the viewers and allowing them to draw their own conclusion before the episode ends is rewarding, but also give huge payoff to those who are able to find all the hidden details and make connections between the past events. We ditch to the big review. Season 1, from what I can make out, consists of 2 story arcs and Mao Mao's life story, from when she was a baby to her present self. As the title will explain itself, after all, it is the Apothecary Diaries. Our timeline begins not with Mao Mao, but with her dad. As a child, Lakan suffered from prosopagnosia, also known as face blindness. Due to that illnesses, he had a hard time forming human relationship. After all, he mistook his mother for a maidservant. Imagine saying that to your mom. That's one way to speed run out of your house. Now, even though Lakan has a tough time growing up, he does get help, but not from his parent, but rather from his uncle. And I must say, this uncle may be a genius at raising people, as you can see for yourself later in the story. Lakan's uncle teaches Lakan to learn how to see people's faces as Shang-Chi pieces. Shang-Chi is a game of Chinese chess, and as Lakan grows up, he is able to tell how talented a person is based on the chess piece reflected on their faces. At the same time, he was able to play Xiangqi and strategy board games really well. Therefore, when he loses a board game, he is amazed by the person who beats him, and that first person is Fen Xian, a courtesan from Verdigris House. I guess Lakan was very shocked to lose that game. In fact, he took his time and made his very best effort to remember her face, despite having face blindness. Now, Fen Xian is not like your typical courtesan girl. Her eyes-piercing look, her stoic face, and her immense beauty make her feel like an art piece, and people come from all corners just to be entertained by her. In animated, we usually call this person a kudere. Now back to the story, as Fen Xian Faces was the first person Lakan was able to recognize, it reminded him of a balsam flower, and he immediately fell in love with her and her wits. We could tell Fen Xian is also quite interested in Lakan, often asking when he will be coming back next time, not as a courtesan to a customer, but rather Juliet asking Romeo when he will be coming back. And would you look at that, it is Mei as Shinzo. Shinzo is a term for courtesan in training. Now in the anime, an unspecific amount of time has passed. Fen Xian is now a high-ranking courtesan due to her popularity, while Lakan has just become a scholar. A scholar in ancient China is a very big thing, as people who can get education are only for the rich, and getting funded to study is rare, and only the privileged are able to afford it. The amount of time passed is unknown, but we could tell Fen Xian might be retiring soon as a courtesan, as rumor of a contract getting brought out are spreading within the Verdigris house. Getting brought out is an important moment for a courtesan, as it means purchasing their freedom. The courtesan will retire from the household they belong to and marry whoever brought them out. But that doesn't mean the end for them. Just think of marrying a Broadway theatre performance or a musician. The skill they learned in their household are now brought over to their respective buyer to entertain their personal guests. Fen Xian hated the idea of getting brought out by a person she has no interest in, so she concocted a plan that is so big that it not only changes the course of her life, but also Lakan's life for the worse and almost break up her own households. During another meeting with Lakan, this time around, Fen Xian asked Mei that she would rather be alone this time. Mei took the hint and gave them privacy. Fen Xian seduced Lakan and engaged in procreation with him. It was during this period Mao Mao was conceived. Now, let's take a step back and think about why Fen Xian did what she did. At this point of time, Lakan has already established a schedule with Fen Xian. Due to the fact that Fen Xian was a high-ranking courtesan, he couldn't see Fen Xian regularly and had to save money, roughly once a visit every 3 months. So, by following this next logical step, she assumed he will be back in another 3 months, where her baby bulge will start to appear. As a pregnant courtesan is worthless in the eyes of the pleasure district, she could technically walk out for free with Lakan, or at least Lakan can buy her out with the amount of money he saved that he will be using to see her. Fen Xian just need to prove she is pregnant with Mao Mao. But as Murphy Law will state, which says that anything can go wrong, will go wrong. So, who or what threw a wrench in her plan. For that, we need to turn our head facing the royal palace. Remember Lakan's uncle? Apparently, he is working in the royal palace as a doctor. During Mao Mao's conception, the royal babies were born and the doctor who was handling the delivery was Luoman, Lakan's uncle. Since the queen and the concubine are giving birth at the same time, the queen has the priority of being served first. As Roman was helping out the concubine Ado, the queen went into labor and he was forcefully removed halfway through the procedure. Due to the inadequate attention, Lady Ado ruptured her uterus during the birthing process. Dr. Roman was able to save Lady Ado after successfully delivering the queen's baby, but due to the chaotic event, somehow someone swatted the royal babies. After a few months, the baby that was swapped with Lady Ado's died of an unknown accident. I said accident as the baby died of a food poisoning. Roman, who knew the truth, took responsibility and hid the truth to protect everyone involved. For his crime of letting the crown prince die, his kneecap was removed and he was banished from the royal palace. Just like any other Asian family culture, Roman became a family disappointment and Lakan has to take his place as a contingency plan to succeed the family head. Lakan dad then sent him abroad to study in the anime. Now I said in the anime as from what I heard, Lakan was sent to a military expedition instead in the novels. Hey, Future Niger here. I thought this would be an easy summary script, but now I am 4 pages deep and I still at the intro. I realize how deep of a hole I have dug myself into. Tomato, tomato, both end results are the same. Lakan was forced to depart immediately. He believed he would be gone for only 6 months or so. He wrote to Fenxian, maybe like, "Hi dear, I'll be gone for studies for the next 6 months or so. I hope you'll be doing well. See you soon." But little did he know, 3 years has passed since he returned, and just like any sensible person, he headed for his room, only to discover the number of letters sent to him by Fenxian. He took note of one of the letters, and it was stained red and came along with a pouch. Upon opening the pouch, Lakan initially mistook it for dirt or a branch. After closer inspection, he finally understood how dire the situation was. What the pouch contained were 2 fingers, a big one and a little one that looked like they could come from a baby. Lakan immediately ran to the Verdigris house and demanded to meet Fenxian, but Granny said Fenxian was no longer here. At that moment, Lakan pieces together what he assumed has happened. Fenxian had his child ruin her own reputation and had to serve the street as a common courtesan. She eventually contracted syphilis and died from the disease. So what actually happened within the 3 years Lakan was gone? We know that before Lakan's left, Fenxian was already 3 months into her term of pregnancy, and his uncle, Roman, was banished from the royal palace due to the mishandling of the royal babies. Let's take a look, shall we, as our main character is finally entering the stage. Before Lakan left for his studies abroad, he did send Fenxian a letter saying that he will be away for 6 months, and we see that she was reading it and her baby pouch wasn't that obvious. Let's be generous here and say Fenxian was able to serve the customer and hide her baby bump for 4 months. Granny then covered her for another month by saying Fenxian is sick and fully exposed by the 6th month, which left 3 remaining months before the baby was born. During that time, she was unable to work and at the same time, her household name was damaged. A pregnant high-ranking courtesan is worthless. As you know, it breaks the girlfriend's experience. We know Mao Mao was born without syphilis, so Granny did her best to protect Fenxian from any repercussion of getting pregnant, but nothing comes free. There are mouths to feed and taxes to pay. With this in mind, let's go back to the drawing board. Granny was able to protect Fenxian all the way until Mao Mao is born, but the household reputation has been completely destroyed by the incident and Fenxian had to start serving the street customer within a week. We know that because Roman has started his pharmacy in the pleasure district. Fenxian doesn't have a baby pouch anymore and Fenxian knew she has syphilis but is unable to trust this rando doctor that appeared out of nowhere. As the syphilis incubates, the body rash will start to appear around 4 to 10 weeks after the initial infection. Let's take it as 8 weeks, 2 months for the syphilis rash to develop, a good round number we can deal with. At this point, 8 months has passed since Fenxian has last heard from Lakan. Through those months, Fenxian would have sent countless of letters begging Lakan to save her, but nobody came. In the act of desperation, Fenxian did a yubikiri, finger cutting with Mao Mao. If you want to learn more about it, Limfemi has you covered. The YouTube thumbnail is on screen. A few years passes. Roman is a smart man and most likely will figure out Mao Mao is Lakan's daughter. Mao Mao's jaded green hair from Fenxian and Lakan's aqua blue eye, Roman ends up adopting Mao Mao. Fenxian tale tells us a story about how not all true love ends with a happy ending. Often, girls like to play balls and not be straightforward, and guys have to play catch, and usually get the wrong message. If Fenxian has been honest with Lakan and herself, after hearing she was getting brought out, she could have told Lakan to run away with him, and Lakan would most likely agree with her. The ending of the story would have been different, but in the end, we end up with another Romeo and Juliet story. And please forgive her action. She wasn't sane at that time. She lost everything and was slowly dying from the inside out. Mao Mao now end up with Lakan's uncle, her adoptive father, Loman, and Lakan had to assume Fenxian had already died from syphilis. Lakan eventually found out her daughter was alive during his daily patron to the Verdigris house. It is hard to hide a girl who is the only girl with green hair, but by that time, Mao Mao looks like she's already 4 to 6 years old. And would you look at that? The stage is set. Lakan and his tragic backstory, a swap prince, and Mao Mao will study medical and analytic skills from a talented doctor who got banished from the royal palace. Our story begins 14 years later after Lakan's tragic return from studying abroad. Mao Mao is now 16 years old and at the beginning of the poison arc where the story will revolve around poisons. Loman has instructed Mao Mao to deliver routine medicine to the Verdigris house, which primarily consists of daily use and relief medicine for Fenxian. His adoptive dad told her to be wary of kidnappers.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
And what will you know, the kidnappers are already sizing her up. After dropping off the medicine, Mao Mao went off to gather clay for her fake freckle makeups but got distracted by medicinal herbs growing along the edge of the woods. Because of this distraction, she allowed the kidnappers to close in and nabbed her to be soaked to the royal palace. What an irony, isn't it? Mao Mao was collecting clay to make herself less preferable just to get caught on her way to collect it. By the way, it is amazing that Fenxian survived so long with syphilis. At this point, it is pure suffering. Loman may be a great daughter, but without antibiotics, there is little he can do. 2 months has passed since Mao Mao was sold to the royal palace. During this time, another crown prince was born from a new concubine, Lady Li Hua. During this time, the baby was growing weaker due to unknown reason. As it has been rumored to be a curse, it has been all the talks in the royal palace. Mao Mao, upon hearing the symptoms the babies were having, it sounded like a case of a poisoning. Having great interest in medicine and poison, she personally had to take a look at what was happening herself. Owing to her medical expertise and Lady Li Hua's appearance, Mao Mao concluded that the baby had indeed been poisoned by the makeup. The question was, how does a lowly maidservant tell the royals that they have been poisoned? Let's take a pause here. What Mao Mao said is true. Why didn't the royal palace doctor notice the health difference between the two ladies? It is like night and day, or maybe the doctor simply does not have enough on-the-job experience to qualify for his job scope. Mao Mao came up with the idea of passing the message by writing it on the skirt and ripping that part of the skirt off. Both ladies got the message, but Lady Li Hua's servant disregarded the message, leading to the crown prince's death from the poisonous makeup. Unlike Lady Li Hua, Lady Kokyo took the message to heart about the toxic makeup, allowing her to save the crown princess' life before it becomes life-threatening. Consequently, Lady Kokyo assigned Jinshi the task of finding the mystic messenger who saved the crown princess' life. Jinshi devised a clever plan to find the mystic messenger, utilizing the hint given by the cloth and most maidservants could not read. Capturing Mao Mao proved to be a simple task. Now, our first poisoning case is coming to an end, but that won't be the last of the poisonous makeup. And Mao Mao, is that your only work skirt, or was Jinshi super lucky? She could have worn a different skirt that day. Upon identifying the mystic messenger, Mao Mao was brought up to meet up with Lady Kokyo. Mao Mao was relieved from seeing the child recover from the illness, but Mao Mao was in for another surprise. Lady Kokyo wants Mao Mao to be her lady-in-waiting, her personal maidservant, as she acknowledged Mao Mao's medical and analytical skills. Mao Mao was then redeployed as a food poison taster, and Mao Mao gladly took on the role, but it seems Mao Mao may be working more than just cleaning and food tasting, as Jinshi asked her about a serious case of sleepwalking by a lady named Fuyo. After a series of analysis, Mao Mao realized that Lady Fuyo didn't have a case of sleepwalking but was malingering. Later in the show, the audience find out that Lady Fuyo comes from a small city-state and is in love with her childhood friend, but due to her position, they were never meant to be together. So our boy here joined the military, giga-chat his way up the ladder, and when he was asked about the reward for saving not only the village and was able to eliminate the barbarians around the outskirts, he only requested the sick Lady Fuyo. The emperor granted his wish, and Lady Fuyo was stripped of her position and bestowed upon him. I know this episode came out of nowhere and lead to nowhere, but it is a setup piece for future episodes. which I will elaborate on when the time comes. During the time analyzing Lady Fuyo's condition, the shock of losing her child and the exposure to the poisonous makeup greatly deteriorated Lady Li Hua's health. The emperor allowed Lady Li Hua to recuperate in her personal palace. Having two concubines unable to perform their nightly duties and the emperors only see Lady Ado as a friend, that left Lady Gokyo to serve the emperor. In order to spice things up, as per Lady Gokyo's request, Jinshi asked Mao Mao to make an aphrodisiac. As it involved medicine, Mao Mao immediately took on the job and rushed down to the real palace pharmacy. After successfully creating the aphrodisiac, the emperor acknowledged Mao Mao's skills and received her first decree of heaven. As the emperor words are considered divine in their culture, there was no option to decline. She has been commanded to nurse Lady Li Hua back to health. Unbelievable! Mao Mao, without a second thought, fell for Jinshi's trick. Hook, line and sinker. After the emperor used the aphrodisiac chocolate, even the emperor trusts Mao Mao's skill. That's the reason why Mao Mao got a decree of heaven from the emperor. Anyway, I'm sorry that I started copying from what I had written on the timeline. I didn't want to rewrite the story twice. Initially, Mao Mao struggles to nurse Lady Li Hua back to health because Lady Li Hua's servants distrust Mao Mao and believe that the sick royal should continue to eat luxurious, heavy food. However, with Jinshi's persuasive effort, Mao Mao was eventually able to begin properly caring for Lady Li Hua. During the feeding time, Mao Mao discovered the reason behind Lady Li Hua's persistent health issue, the poisonous makeup. Unbeknownst to her, Lady Li Hua's servants has been unwittingly applying this toxic substance. Mao Mao teaches the servant girl a lesson and Jinshi builds a sauna as per the request of Mao Mao to speed up the detoxification. During Lady Li Hua's recovery, a new lady, Lady Li Shu, has entered the real palace, replacing Lady Fuyo. Now we know that Lady Fuyo has left the real palace and will be replaced by Lady Li Shu. Lady Li Shu's recommendation most likely made by Lady Ado herself, since both of them had quite a mother and daughter vibe in their relationship. 2 months after the Emperor's order, Lady Li Hua has fully recovered. Doubtful of regaining the Emperor's affection, Mao advised Lady Li Hua on the secret grapefruit jujutsu technique which she picks up from the brothel. After Lady Li Shu entered the real palace, coded messages have been circulating within and outside the royal palace using chemical found in fireworks. With the upcoming tea party for the Emperor, Jinshi has been placed on high alert. Wow, whoever come up with the idea of using firework chemical as a coded message is a genius and at the same time terrifying. This usually means a larger crime is taking place at the same time. You don't talk to your friends in class with Morse code, right? A simple piece of paper would suffice. Fast forward to the tea party. Jinshi is doing his walk for the pre-tea party inspection. It was then Jinshi discovered the truth that Mao Mao did not choose to go to the real palace but was instead sold there by kidnappers. After listening to Mao Mao's story, Jinshi gave Mao Mao his hairpin, but Mao Mao doesn't understand what the hairpin symbolized. At the same time, someone added poison to one of the royals' food during the food preparation process. Mao Mao received a participation hairpin from a military officer. Damn, Mao Mao must be a maniac or something, receiving 3 hairpins in one session. Please put a pin on this military officer as he will become a reoccurring character in the story. Food are finally served at the tea party. Mao Mao noticed that the food served to Lady Gokyo was not the Emperor's preferred blue-black fish, but rather jellyfish. Meanwhile, Li Shu appeared to have a strong aversion to fish, and her lady-in-waiting gave a creepy smile. While sampling the soup for Lady Gokyo, Mao detected poison for the first time in the royal palace. Meanwhile, Lady Li Shu's lady-in-waiting was horrified by the unexpected occurrence. Jinshi, adorned in his royal noble attire and hairpin, returns to find the commotion underway. As a minister who disbelieved the situation, had consumed the poison himself and collapsed. Mao Mao, who had to expel the poison that she has consumed, was unaware of the significance of the noble robe and what the hairpin design represented. There will be a second chance to talk about Jinshi's noble attire later on, so I will be saving when we reach there. Secondly, there is a good reason why Lady Li Shu's poison tester was horrified after hearing Mao Mao say the soup was poisoned, which we will find out in the next scene. After the ordeal, Mao Mao requested Jinshi to invite Lady Li Shu and her servant for a conversation. Mao Mao indirectly informed the servant that the prank of switching the food served has gone too far and could have poisoned Lady Li Shu due to her fish allergy. After treating Lady Li Shu's hive caused by an allergy, Mao Mao also passed a list of food Lady Li Shu should avoid to her servant. Now, would you look at that? Lady Gokyo's baby is now 7 to 8 months old and is able to support her own body weight when sitting up straight. Next morning, after the poisoning cases at the tea party, Mao Mao conducted a forensic investigation and identified 4 suspects: a server, a transporter, Lady Li Shu's poison tester, and the final individual suspected of adding the poison. Identifying the suspect is now Jinshi's job. Jinshi is stressed by the additional work given to him due to the poisoner, and he nonchalantly let his hairpin fall. It features a dragon's head and a horse body. The dragon represents nobility in Chinese culture, proving the initial clue that Jinshi might be more than just a mere eunuch. If my theory is right, Jinshi is the swapped baby we spoke about in the early part of the video. During Mao Mao's break with a co-worker, Xiaolan, Mao Mao finally understands the significance of the hairpin as explained by her co-worker. The hairpins permits a maid to temporarily leave the royal palace, provided the owner of the hairpin acts as a guarantor. Armed with the new knowledge of the hairpin, remember this guy? Mao Mao bargained with Li Haku, offering to introduce her older sister, who are high-ranking courtesans from the Verdigris house, in exchange of his support of her temporarily returning home. Mao Mao finally gets to return home after 10 months, but not without getting heavily in debt to Granny. Mao Mao had to pay for the remaining fees for booking her sister. As usual, the theme of the first arc is poison. Someone had to get poisoned in the brothel. Mao Mao helped out the victim, and we have a short filler episode dealing with poisons. In the filler episode, Mao Mao discovered that the politics of the pleasure district are just as intricate as those of the royal palace. After a 3-day rest at home, Mao Mao makes her way back to the royal real palace. If you want to learn more, Lim Fei did a video of it. Link will be in the description. Now we start off episode 9 with the assassination of a noble, Conan. Pin this as we will be coming back to it. Jinshi was soon notified about Conan's death. Jinshi looks up to Conan as his fatherly figure and understands him well. Jinshi doesn't believe Conan could simply die from alcohol poisoning and requested Mao Mao for a closer inspection. Mao Mao accepted the request but found nothing unusual except the excessive amount of salt in Conan's drink. It turns out Conan is unable to taste salt and may have died from a salt overdose, but due to the insufficient evidence, the incident was classified as a prank that tragically resulted in an individual death. No further investigation was conducted, and the real perpetrator remains unidentified. Finally, now we have been shown a slight hint that something is brewing behind the scene in the royal palace. At this point, only the audience knows, and our main characters have no idea a bigger crime is developing. Oh my, the show is cooking. The following morning, a body of a servant from the guarded pavilion was discovered in the moat behind the palace. The case remained unsolved as officials investigation whether the death was result of a murder or a suicide. The official verdict on the deceased servant's body was suicide, following an attempted poisoning of a member of the royal family. However, Jinshi was skeptical and dispatched Mao Mao to the guarded pavilion as a covert investigator to continue the investigation. But before that, Mao Mao has to finish Lady Skokyo's personal tea party with Lady Li Shu. From here, Mao Mao learns that Lady Li Shu had an aversion to honey for an unknown reason. There is a good reason to be careful around honey. I'm not sure whether honey allergies are real, but if you follow along the poison arc and guess that honey is poisonous, you are right. Babies under 1-year-olds are forbidden to consume honey. The bees could gather pollen and nectar from a poisonous flower. The main reason baby can't consume honey is due to the bacteria in it, and the bacteria can produce toxin that is lethal to babies. I will post a video link if you want to learn more about it, why babies can't eat honey. Now during Mao Mao's investigation, Mao Mao spotted Lady Li Shu stealthily moving around Lady Ado's residential area, seemingly attempting to alert her to something. It appears that Lady Li Shu nearly lost her life as an infant due to honey consumption, and she's attempting to caution Lady Ados regarding this danger as Lady Ados stores tons of honey, as her head lady in waiting owns an apiary business. Mao Mao relays her finding to Jinshi, stating the Lady Ado headmaid is surrounded by suspicious activity and maybe links to various crimes occurring within the royal palace. However, more time is needed to fully assemble the pieces of the puzzles. Mao Mao experienced an epiphany when Jinshi attempted to force-feed her honey. This revelation allowed Mao Mao to connect all the pieces of the puzzle, leading her to discover that Lady Ado headmaid may be orchestrating the crime within the royal palace. Damn it, woman! What are you teaching to Mao Mao? How does she know that honey can be poisonous too? Does she have a PhD in toxicology? I swear if this is present time, you can either guess Mao Mao would become a food scientist, organic chemist, or a forensic science specialized in poison. Mao Mao, with Gao Shun's permission, went into the archive to do some research about the royal baby who died 16 years ago. During this time, Mao Mao uncovered his father's past involvement with the royal palace and the circumstances that led to his banishment while trying to protect everyone. After collecting all the evidence, Mao Mao confronted Lady Ado's headmaid. The headmaid deeply regretted her accidental poisoning of Lady Ado's child. To conceal the truth about the child's being poisoned by honey, Mao Mao advised her to admit attempting to poison Lady Li Shu instead. At the same night where Lady Ado's maid has confessed, Mao Mao shared a drink with Lady Ado and had a heartfelt conversation. Through this conversation, Mao Mao thought Lady Ado reminded her of someone. The next morning has arrived and Lady Ado's handed over her crown to Jinshi as she retired as a concubine. Mao Mao realized how Lady Ado looks like Jinshi. With this, Mao Mao theorized that Lady Ado was permitted to remain in the real palace for 16 years without having more children because her baby was switched with the Empress. Consequently, the Empress raised Lady Ado's child. This power dynamic likely allowed Lady Ado to stay in the real palace for an extended period of time without additional offspring. The doctor, Mao Mao's dad, involved in the switch was punished and banished, and the truth was concealed. The poison arc will now conclude as Lady Ado bids Lady Li Shu a heartfelt farewell, and in that moment, Lady Ado's typical masculine expression softened, conveying the tenderness maternal expression to Lady Li Shu. What a wild ride with the poison arc. But let's take a step back and talk about the royal babies that got swapped. Maybe Lady Ado knows her baby was swapped. Typical Chinese drama plot. The reason she didn't speak out was because her child will most likely live a better life with the Empress as a royal instead of a child born from a concubine. At this point of time, Jinshi is most likely considered a royal noble. If he is indeed Lady Ado's child, the dragon hairpin and the noble outfit at the tea party would make sense. The aftermath of the arrest of Lady Ado's headmaid was significant, involving collusion among various business. This also included the conspirator behind Mao Mao's adoption and 80 other maids. Mao Mao was then released from the royal palace after her contract was nullified due to illegal activities, owing to her debt to the Verdigris house incurred by employing her sister Piring during her return from the royal palace with Li Haku. Mao Mao went back to work as a shinzo for her elder sister at the Verdigris house. Some days following Mao Mao's release, Li Haku organized a celebration for senior officials by engaging the service of the three princesses from the Verdigris house. It seems Jinshi was present at the seniors party as well. Mao explained that her work as a courtesan was due to her indebtedness to the Verdigris house. A few days later, Jinshi paid off Mao Mao's debt and employed her to work for him instead. I have a lot of questions over here. Why is Li Haku holding an event party for the higher ups official? What were Jinshi and the Emperor was talking about? A season 2 reference? Are Jinshi and the Emperor related? Mao Mao's sister is loaded and Mao Mao should be eating the same thing, but why is she? As Mao Mao arrives as Jinshi resident, she begins to suspect that Jinshi is more than just a eunuch, considering he holds a position far exceeded his pay grade. Mao Mao did not succeed in becoming the court officer after failing the examination. Consequently, Mao Mao could not assist Jinshi with his official duties and continued to serve as his personal maid. Meanwhile, while running errands, Mao Mao personally encountered a person named Sui Rei, marking the start of a new chapter in her story. During this time, winter had already set in, and the new concubine has entered the real palace, adorned with the crown that once belongs to the former concubine, Lady Ado. We are now entering a new arc in the Apothecary Diary, the Assassination Attempt arc. Now, I would like you to put a pin on Sui Ren, as she would play an important role in this arc. Meanwhile, for some unknown reason, I quite like the new concubine. She gave me a feeling that she will have a gap moe. Anyway, her role is small in season 1. Maybe we will see more of her in season 2. Upon hearing Mao Mao's return to the royal palace, Lady Li Hua and Lady Gokuyo requested Mao Mao's assistance, and in response, Mao Mao conducted lectures on the 69 ways and position for all the concubines in the real palace. An explosion occurs on the same night as the lectures in the food storage area. Lacan was the first to arrive at the scene and quickly determined the case and left the resolution to the military officer. From now on, I would like you to take a mental note of all accidents that will be happening. As most of the incidents are connected with one another, you may be able to come out to your own conclusion yourself. As you can see, tons of life are drawn and overlap with one another. There are like 4 lines down here. Morning arrived and Mao Mao was tasked with an errand. While running an errand, Mao Mao got distracted with the medicinal herbs as always and stumbled upon the crime scene from last night. It appears that Li Haku was in charge of handling the fire incidents that occurred in the food storage area. Upon discovering a smoking pipe and the flower in the storage room, Mao Mao formulated a hypothesis regarding the cause of the fire. After running an experiment, Mao Mao's hypothesis proved correct, aiding Li Haku in solving the case with ease. Amid a commotion, Mao Mao forgot to return the smoking pipe. I wonder, with the newfound knowledge, if Li Haku, the military officer, who invented gunpowder with flour in their era. During mid-transition, the mysterious person who poisoned the royal noble Conan with salt reappeared again. Lakans learned that the fire case was resolved by a servant girl known for her beauty and icy glaze, which reminded him of his relationship with Fenshen and his unseen grown-up daughter, Mao Mao. From what he had heard, she has been brought out from the verdigris house by a man named Jinshi. After the appearance of the mysterious person, another esteemed bureaucrat has fallen into coma after suffering from food poisoning. Mao Mao has been assigned to investigate the case. Gao Shun sent his son, Ba Seng, along with Mao Mao to the kitchen where the suspected crime occurred in hopes of uncovering the cause of the food poisoning. Upon detailed investigation, it was concluded that the seaweed was not indigenous to the region and was also toxic. The unidentified individual are believed to be advising the criminal. If you are able to start forming connections with the crime, the mysterious person was the one advising the criminal about the poisonous seaweed. How does a person even find out seaweeds are poisonous or not? Is it because she's a doctor or someone who treats stuff? Otherwise, you won't be encountering these special dishes. After resolving the case of the poisoning of a noble, Lakan interrupts the tranquility of Jinshi's solitude and engages in a conversation and reminiscing about the bygone days. Once he concluded his monologue, he informed Jinshi of an unresolved inheritance dispute and inquires if Mao Mao could resolve it. Mao Mao was briefed on the inheritance dispute and was dispatched immediately to resolve the case. It turns out the wheel itself is a riddle, followed by the drawer shape and design too. Mao Mao was able to resolve the inheritance dispute and figure out how soft metal was made. The only reason I can think Mao Mao took on this case is because she likes to have a challenge. But it is also her action in taking on this challenge that make her understand the bigger picture later on. Jinshi and Mao Mao don disguises for official duties beyond the royal palace wall. They enjoy some quality time together. However, Jinshi inadvertently triggered Mao Mao's anger by inquiring about reducing the price to purchase a courtesan freedom. This is most likely due to her relationship with her blood-related parents. The following night, Mao Mao had a nightmare about her childhood trauma. During Mao Mao's day off, his adoptive father told her to give her mom her daily dose of medication at the verdigris house. The anime did not explain that this person is Mao Mao's mom at this point. During the treatment session, Lakan paid another visit to Verdigris' house, compelling Mao Mao to remain concealed. Mimi was then sent to keep Lakans entertained. Mao Mao stayed outside until late in the evening, where Lakans departed from the Verdigris house. End of Mao Mao's vacation. Lakan, you bastard, you took away Mao Mao's vacation! At this point of time, some of the viewers are forming the connection that Fenshen could be Mao Mao's mother, because you don't really see girls with green hair, with an exception of Granny's hair is white or grey due to her age. I wonder what color of her hair is. Due to the absence of noble to perform the ceremonial rites, Jinshi, next in line, began preparation for the duties, cleaning and eating only vegetarian meals. Mao Mao questioned why a low-ranking unit was tasked with such a significant responsibility. During the preparation, Suirei can be seen getting quite friendly with one of the court's doctor. Jinshi discovered that Mao Mao's adoptive father has been a royal physician, which explained her extensive medical knowledge. Meanwhile, during this revelation, Lakan made another visit to Jinshi's residence, requesting to see Mao Mao after Jinshi had unintentionally purchased her daughter's freedom without his awareness. In the next hour, Jinshi inquires if Mao Mao would like to meet Lakan, and Mao Mao's body language clearly indicates a refusal. To distract herself from unpleasant memories, Mao Mao visited the herb gardens to collect the herbs and encountered Suirei once again. Suirei expressed a desire to cultivate morning glories in the herb garden. The following morning, another crime scene has occurred, and once again, Li Hake seeks Mao Mao's assistance. Upon reviewing the case, Mao Mao discovered numerous odd coincidences, suggesting there might be a larger scheme unfolding behind the scenes, and Suirei is a common suspect that appears in all of them. Remember what I said about putting a pin on Suiren? Now we have most of the past crime that happened in the past connected to her. Let's take a look at all the crimes that have happened that are connected to her. Mysterious figure poisoned Conan by overdosing him with salt. Conan is responsible for overseeing the ceremonial equipment. A fire happened at the food storage, and the ceremonial hinge was stolen on the same day. The fire was caused by a smoking pipe given by a tall lady who smelled like medicine. Another noble bureaucrat responsible for ceremonial ritual was poisoned by seaweed. He was tipped off by a mysterious figure about the poisoning method. The metal craftsman who crafted the ceremonial hinge died after crafting the hinge, which led to the inheritance dispute. All this effort was to set up as an assassination attempt of someone with a royal birth during the ceremonial rites. Now, let's see how Mao Mao resolved this huge event by herself, shall we? Mao Mao then reported her finding to Jinshi about the case Li Haku had received. Although Jinshi requested Mao Mao to solve the case, her motivation was lacking. To encourage her, Jinshi promised to purchase an outbuzzle for her medical research. With the newfound knowledge, Mao Mao once again headed for the archive to check through the past documents. Upon reviewing the documents, Mao Mao discovered that the ceremonial rites are scheduled for today, and a series of coincidence has aligned to create the perfect condition for a significant accident. The accident is intended to serve as a diversion for the assassination of the noble individual presiding over the ceremonial rites. Upon arriving at the ceremonial rites location, Mao Mao was initially denied entry and was forcefully removed from the premise. However, with Lakan's assistance, Mao Mao was eventually granted temporary access to the ceremony. Mao Mao's premonition proved accurate when the hinge supporting the pillar snapped. Fortunately, Mao Mao managed to save the noble, which revealed to be Jinshi. After the harrowing experience of rescuing Jinshi from beneath the collapsing pillar, Mao Mao was not unscathed. Overcome by injuries, Mao Mao lost consciousness in Jinshi's embrace. Jinshi then hurriedly takes Mao Mao to the Imperial Infirmary. En route, Lakan was appalled by the aftermath of the accident that severely injured her daughter. Jinshi was observed wearing a robe adorned with a dragon motif, typical reserved for the sovereigns. At this point in time, all the audience members who didn't know Jinshi was of a noble birth will find out he is indeed a person of a noble birth. But I want to further elaborate. The dragon motif on Jinshi robe can only be worn by a chosen few. Only the royal family is able to wear the dragon design. People with knowledge of Chinese culture would think that Jinshi may be a crown prince. This makes the baby swapping case even more relevant. Was Jinshi swapped during the birth? Tell me in the comment section. After being patched up, everyone demanded to know how Mao Mao has foreseen the impending accident. Mao Mao explained that though her investigation, she noticed a series of coincidences that creates the perfect storm for an assassination disguised as an accident. The military police made an arrest attempt on Suirei. However, upon their arrival, they found Suirei unconscious, having ingested poison. The doctor who was friendly with Suirei declared Suirei to be dead from the poison she ingested and did not do any autopsy on Suirei's body. Mao Mao recalling discussing a revival hope with Suirei and insists on a closer inspection on her corpses. However, upon opening the coffin, they discover that Suirei's body is missing. It seems that she has been resurrected and has fled from the crime scene disguised as a male official. In the end, Suirei was not identified and everything about her is shrouded in mystery. Damn, this is like some episode on Detective Conan or something similar. I'm more amazed by how Suirei is able to cross-dress as a male. Maybe her height helps her a lot in the disguise. We later also learned that Jinshi is also in disguise. He is playing as a 27-year-old eunuch and drank medicine that suppressed his testosterone. Now we have some setup for season 2 and the follow-up of wrapping up of season 1. Lady Lolan, the girl that I said might have a gap moe, loved to dress up. Is she related to Suirei? And Jinshi complained about the current emperor. Lady Kokyo showed sign of pregnancy and Mao Mao was sent over to provide additional help for Lady Kokyo. Lakan is back at Jinshi residence seeking a challenge from Jinshi about whether he can reproduce blue flowers by the next tea party. At his wit's end, Jinshi was unable to find blue roses and asked Mao Mao for help. With Lady Li Hua's permission, Mao Mao transferred her sauna room into a greenhouse to accelerate the growth of the rose plants. To divert attention from her work, Mao Mao taught manicure techniques to Lady Li Hua's servant, which quickly became a popular trend throughout the royal palace. Mao Mao's effort finally paid off as the white roses started growing. Afterward, Mao Mao dyes the white roses blue using blue dye water. The emperor was initially briefed on the process of dyeing roses in various of color to ensure he would not be surprised by the sight of the multicolored roses. Lady Kokyo will not be attending the tea party due to her pregnancy. Jinshi then presented the multicolored roses at the tea party. Unaware of Jinshi's relationship with the emperor, many high-ranking officers envy his accomplishment of presenting such unique roses. Due to Lakan's inability to see faces, he has been consistently noticing red flashes appearing and disappearing. It turns out that many girls are wearing red nail polishes, which reminded him of Fenshin. After completing Lakan's challenge to acquire blue roses, Mao Mao appears in front of Lakan and asks for a return challenge, this time with a state involved. The state of the game are such that if Mao Mao loses, she will become Lakan's daughter, and if Lakan loses, he will purchase courtesan freedom from the verdigris house. The game is Xiangqi, also known as Chinese chess. Winning requires a triumph of 3 out of 5 matches. The loser must consume a medicine, and taking more than 3 doses will result in unconsciousness. But Mao Mao lied and said that it will probably be deadly instead. Any inability to proceed with the game constitutes an automatic loss. Lakan, deceived by Mao Mao's tricks, intentionally lose 2 matches. as he thinks that if Mao Mao has drank 3 of the medicine, she would die. However, after consuming what he believed to be medicine were actually strong liquor, his low alcohol tolerance led to him fainting. Consequently, Lakan is unable to continue and forfeited the match. Lakan awakened at Verdigris house and received a cryptic message from Mao Mao which Mei Mei hinted even a withered rose can still be cherished for its beauty. As Lakan was on the verge of securing Mei Mei's freedom, she cautioned him that he might be making a mistake. Mei Mei then opened the door that led to Verdigris house infirmary. Lakan heard the lullaby that Fenxian once sang and immediately understood what the withered rose Mao Mao's gave him meant. After 17 years, Lakan finally reunited with Fenxian. Despite his flay's blindness, Lakan saw Fenxian as beautiful as the day he left her. Lakan essentially proved, "You're as beautiful as the day I lost you." Sorry, I got a bit emotional over there. Lakan brought out Fenxian and held a party for 7 days and 7 nights. Lin Fei will cover more if you're interested in the life of a courtesan. Please tell him I sent you guys there. Mao then performed a dance atop a royal palace, a traditional offering for when a high-ranking courtesan is brought out. A report was made that a woman was dancing on top of a royal palace wall, and Jinshi was forced to check on it. It turns out to be Mao Mao. After a few conversations, Mao Mao realized her wound has reopened. Jinshi then carried Mao Mao to the infirmary, and Mao Mao threw Jinshi along the way. The season ends at a point where Jinshi is issuing another case for Mao Mao. That's it guys, wrap up! And that wraps up season 1 of Apothecary Diary. Was there something I missed, or was I wrong about something? Let me know in the comment section. And hey, if you reached to the end of the video, why not help me out by subscribing and leave a like? Engage with me so I can make better videos in the future. Girls like to play balls and not to be straightforward. And guys, and would you look at that? The stitch contingency. What the hell? As a contingency. And Lakan has to take his place as a contingency.